Hi everyone, I am Jasenia, the New England Psychic Medium. I wanted to discuss this huge shift that we are currently in the midst of. Back in December 2019 and even 2018, ever since I opened up, ever since I awakened, my guides were always directing me to 2020, the tremendous shift in 2020. So let's begin by understanding what happened before this. What I call the old souls or aware souls were supposed to wake up before the rest of humanity. They acted as information centers, healers, guides, teachers. Some of them have been functioning in awake for centuries. During 2019, the earth ascended. Ascension is a vibrational raising. So essentially, our physical body ascends by healing traumas, wounds, scars, obstructions, blocks from past lives. And then our vibration shifts upward. And then we function in higher vibration. The more people who ascend on Earth, the faster Earth ascends and shifts. So the first wave awoke as many people as possible, guided as many people as possible, and many people started, the second wave was 1819. They started kind of shifting into awareness, taking classes, opening their gifts, healing, being aware. That was the first wave. Second wave, sorry. Third wave was the stubborns. This shift began January 12th. 2020 during one of the most tremendous astrological events known to Earth, which was a conjunction between Saturn and I can't remember. I think it was Mars. It was about karmic debts. It was a huge conjunction that took place, and that huge conjunction was made to shift stubborn structures. So any structure that was toxic to the collective, to humanity, to soul evolution, to Earth's ascension, was going to begin to crumble. And then the stubborns would be forced into some awakening of some sort. Now, what is an awakening? Let's go over this. A lot of people are really confused about this experience. An awakening is actually something that happens multiple times, as we, after the first awakening, are constantly awakening to self-belief, to new self-limiting patterns, behaviors, thought processes, limitations, new blocks, new levels of understanding. Essentially, we just don't go from on to off. We don't just click. We don't just know everything. We can't make sense of it all. We would literally lose our mind. We are talking about the difference between functioning solely on our physical life and energy versus the understanding or knowing of our higher self and soul, which is a limitless database. It is everything our soul has experienced, our soul's origins, our past lives, our experience. And this happens first with the awareness of intuition or soul to begin with. So essentially, an awakening is when we are able to move out of our physical body and say, there's something else there. What's there? What's speaking to me? What is connecting me? Awakenings usually in the past happen during really traumatic events and situations. Sometimes it's a loss of a loved one, and then all of a sudden realizing that they're still with you in spirit. Sometimes it's a really traumatic, life-threatening experience. Sometimes it's actual death. So a lot of people awaken when they die and then come back to life because they've been there. So now they can't deny that experience. I've realized more and more that people are kind of shifting into awareness easier. And that's the point of Earth's ascension. Earth's raising of its vibration means that it's a less traumatic experience for people. They can simply kind of come to awareness in different ways. Now, this shift that we are currently facing, we can't kill and resuscitate millions of people. Therefore, there's this fear of your life going on right now, that fear tends to either do two things. It brings people into the awareness of something greater, or it brings people into very stressful, self-destructive behavior. That stressful, self-destructive behavior will actually keep trying to push you back into awareness. When you're in awareness, you feel a really deep sense of peace and understanding. So it's a great way to kind of bring awareness to the world and create the shifts necessary for what's happening here, what needs to happen, or what's going to happen to shift the energy of Earth. So an awakening is being aware of your connection to soul. With your connection to soul, you all of a sudden notice that there are a lot of synchronicities in your environment. I'm just reading from my notes. You notice a new sense of awareness in your environment, whether it's noticing earth, plants, animals, people differently, whether it's noticing details of things you've seen every single day. There's just a certain new awareness. That awareness can be overwhelming if you focus on negative things, and it can be positive if you focus on beauty, compassion, and love. We have this sense of alignment, all of a sudden this sense of understanding, like this greater purpose. Sometimes it comes through as a sense of extreme void. Essentially, we might come to the awareness that we don't even know who we are, that we have no purpose here on earth, that we have been following a misguided path of what people expected us to be, and now we've lost ourselves. So sometimes the awakening can be really overwhelming. We feel like we have to catch up. We feel like we've done everything wrong. We feel unaligned. We feel like our careers, our relationships, our surroundings are all kind of functioning out of alignment. And then we have to go all the way back to square one. Our relationships begin to shatter, to deconstruct, to fall apart. Our jobs begin to fall apart. A lot of people, as you can understand why, get stuck in this place of self-suffering and self-destruction because they don't realize that there's actually a way out. They don't realize what's next. Essentially, they're saying, this doesn't work for you. And we're going to make it very clear for you now that you're awake. If you want these things to be better, get better, and function through soul, we're going to rebuild them for you. But you have to learn to release what we're taking, and you have to learn to accept what we're giving. This is where a lot of people freak out. They cling, they obsess. Fear is restrictive energy. So if we are fearful of this experience, we tend to restrict our energy so narrow that we feel like we're starving energetically. We feel weak. We end up making no changes. And that is essentially paralyzed by fear. It can feel very overwhelming to let go of systems, structures, relationships, people, jobs, things that no longer suit you. But it is always for the better if you have that faith and that understanding that the plan is aligning for you. I always say the universe conspires for me. And I think that that's a beautiful mantra during the awakening process, is to kind of just have faith. Some examples of those were, before my awakening, I was very happily running a daycare from my home. I loved it. It was a very fulfilling experience. I got to raise my kids. I was secretly using my gifts all along and didn't know it. Because I'm telepathic and a healer and can read energy. Therefore, I was reading these little kids. Therefore, that's why it was such an easy, amazing job for me, because I always knew what they needed and wanted, and I could give them that without having the overwhelming stress of crying and screaming or fighting. I didn't really have a lot of that. And then my awakening happened, and my guides gave me my purpose, and they said, take the leap, open this job, be full-time. And it was horrifying for me. I delayed it as long as I could. I had a very hard time letting go. I ended up doing both for a while. And then one day I just said, I can't do this anymore. I'm exhausted. I'm overworked. I'm overextended. I'm just going to have to take the leap. I took the leap, and everything just started taking off and thriving. I learned to take intuition. I learned to let go, and I learned to accept. A lot of us stay in this place of struggle because we are too scared and because we can't take the leap and we don't have faith. So that's where a lot of us get stuck. And a lot of people think that an awakening is just perpetual suffering because they don't know how to move out of it. So I want everybody listening to this video to understand that there is actually no reason to stay stuck in that perpetual suffering. What you must do is learn to acknowledge your emotional body, as your emotional body is an outline for places in your chakras and soul and energy and body that need healing. It will literally pull you into healing by properly responding to it. This is why inhibitors such as marijuana, drugs, alcohol do not help during the awakening process. Many times your body will actually naturally reject them, making you ill, sick, nauseous, even frustrated in these times because they're saying, no, this isn't going to help you. We need actual solutions. So I recommend that we don't take inhibitors during this time, because what we have to do is face every emotion that comes to us. If you're feeling sad, you have to find the roots to that sadness. If you're feeling triggered, you have to find the roots to that trigger. If you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed or fearful, find the roots for that. And in the way you will heal everything that comes forward. When you heal those things, they stop arriving at your door. They stop showing up. They stop making themselves present. That is how we align to the soul. Essentially, every single emotion is pulling up an experience, whether it be this life or a past life, and it's asking you to heal it so it stops calling forward energy. Then we align that chakra to the soul and the body. So we have an integration. Then we move up and up and up and up and up until we are complete at our crown chakra. And then we have complete soul to body integration within our chakra structure. That is when our gifts start evolving. That is when we start seeing, feeling. Natural side effect to healing is gift amplification. All of us have gifts. Not all of us are aligned to healing or understanding how energy works, how our gifts work, how energy should function within our body. So understand that. So what should you do? Heal. Awakening is just the very beginning of a multitude of awakenings. It's the beginning of everything. You don't unawaken. You can get stuck, but you don't unawaken. We don't go back to sleep. Essentially, this is bringing us into a new era, a new paradigm, a new way of being. We are understanding at a more conscious level that we are soul beings, that we are connected to so much more than our physical environment. We are moving out of survival and local energy and into amazing, limitless awareness. We're moving into compassionate structures and community. Alignment means alignment to all souls, because our higher self, our intuition, is connected to our soul group. Our soul group is connected to many people here on earth, and that is connected to earth, which is connected to everyone here. So we are talking about global alignment of our energy. We are talking about global awareness. We're talking about unity. This is something the world has lacked for a very, very long time. And we're bringing it all forward. Now, after the stubborns, it's not over. We have the passives. Essentially, we just have a bunch of people who are neither nay or, yay. And they just kind of see things shift and they're like, oh, well, I can jump on that. And they kind of merge with the rest of the groups here. But the stubborns are truly difficult. The stubborns. They also include government systems and structures. We are moving into structures and systems that work for the collective, work for ascension, work for this compassionate understanding that we are all one. We are getting rid of anything that forces manipulation, limitation, starvation, poverty. We're moving out of those destructive structures and we're moving to compassionate structures. That is something we will continue seeing. Now, January was just the beginning, was just the very beginning. Everything will kind of continue to expand and grow. But as we mentioned it before, awakening means releasing the structures and systems that no longer serve us. So yes, a lot is changing in our environment. A lot is shifting. A lot is releasing. We are letting go of a lot of things that no longer serve us. And that can be overwhelming and terrifying, but we have to understand that it's a lot easier, a lot less stressful, and much easier to energetically manage if we have faith that we are birthing something greater. And it's easy for me to say because I have gifts and I see the future, but that's why we use the word faith, because we don't always understand that there's something greater on the other side of that faith. So I hope that this helps. We have a lot of people who are coming into their awareness and awakening, and a lot of them are confused and stressed out because the times we are currently in. And I hope that if somebody comes to you with some kind of fear or concern about their own awakening, that you can direct them to this video and share the video. I hope that it will be some kind of light for those who are confused. I think that so many people, even still who have awakened years ago, are still stuck in this idea that they have to continue to suffer. They don't understand that the limitations placed in their life are actually not limitations, but lessons that they have to cross. And they stay stuck. They stay stuck surrounded by all these lessons that seem overwhelming, and they get stuck in this idea that we have to kind of perpetually suffer, that we have to constantly work and constantly sacrifice and constantly limit ourselves or put ourselves out there and kind of drain ourselves for any kind of benefit or awareness or evolution. And I'm here to say that you're not doing it right. You're not healing right. When you heal and release something, it stops showing up in your life. It stops making itself present and known. It stops asking you for attention. So please understand that. And thank you for listening. Again, I hope that you can share this video. I do have other videos I recommend that go with this. For example, Cheats to Evolution, clearing and healing chakras, and what to understand about this current shift. I think it's called Spiritual Tools. But I do have a lot of other videos that I do recommend people watch, especially if you're just awakening, beginning this process. All the other videos on my YouTube channel will help guide you through a lot of different things that will bring you to like an expedited awareness. You know, those things took me years to figure out. Kind of aligning to all of them quickly means that we're able to be more aware and kind of break through those glass ceilings faster than, you know, when I did it on my own over years. So I hope you enjoyed this necessary information, and I hope that it gives people some form of hope and patience as we move forward through this shift. And I am sending everybody love, compassion, and understanding, and I'm hoping that we all make it through this with peaceful hearts.